Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're diving deep, really deep into just one source. Elizabeth Strout's novel, Tell Me Everything.
Right. Which is a bit different for us. Usually we're juggling articles, research papers.
Exactly. But this time, we're treating this amazing work of fiction as, well, as our factual source material because the truths in it about human nature are just so profound.
Hmm.
So our mission, basically, is to uncover these surprising insights about relationships, the quiet lives people lead, the stuff hidden under the surface in, this small town in Maine.
It's all about those interconnected lives, the burdens people carry, often silently.
Yeah, and how past trauma just echoes. You'll see how even tiny interactions, they can reveal so much about what's going on inside.
And what's so compelling, I think, is how Strout creates these characters. They feel so real. You get right inside their heads. And it's not just their stories. It's really an exploration of how we all navigate loneliness, loss, the histories that make us who we are. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How much do we actually know about the people around us?
Or even ourselves, yeah. That's the big question hanging over everything.
Hmm.
So Strout sets the scene beautifully in Crosby, Maine. It's this town that's changing. New people are moving in, like Lucy Barton. Housing prices are going up.
You get that sense of friction, right, between the old-timers and the newcomers. A lot of the population is older.
Definitely. And we meet some key figures right away. First up, Bob Burgess. He's sort of our main guy.
Right, Bob. He's 6'5", tall, a bit heavy set. And the book suggests he has this big heart, but maybe he doesn't even see it in himself.
Yeah, a former lawyer from New York, now mostly retired back in Crosby. He's married to Margaret.
Margaret Estever. She's his wife, and she's a Unitarian minister, quite well regarded, has a following.
Then there's Lucy Barton. She's
Yeah.
a writer. Came up from NYC during the pandemic with her ex-husband William and just stayed.
And she lives in this dramatic spot, right, high on a cliff over the ocean.
Mm-hmm. Known for taking these walks with Bob, it becomes a regular thing.
And you can't talk about Crosby without mentioning Olive Kitteridge.
Oh, absolutely. Olive. She's 90 now, living in the Maple Tree Apartments, the retirement community.
Still sharp, though. Got that quiet sadness about her.
Yeah.
But also very opinionated, hates squirrels, dislikes most ministers. Classic Olive.
She really is. Okay, so we have our players. Now, let's get into one of the core themes. How the past, especially childhood trauma, just reverberates. Bob Burgess is a prime example.
Right. His core trauma, it's huge. When he was 8, he believed he accidentally killed his father.
Yeah, the car rolling down the driveway, him thinking he moved the gear shift, it's just devastating.
And that guilt, that sense of responsibility, it shapes his entire life, doesn't it?
Completely. It follows him everywhere.
And this is where Strout is just brilliant, showing how these deep, maybe unconscious burdens from childhood, they define who you are, how you interact. Lucy calls him a sin eater later on.
Ah, yes, the sin eater. Such a powerful idea. Someone who takes on the guilt, the suffering of others, maybe without even realizing it. Always trying to make things right.
Exactly. And Lucy, well, her own past is incredibly difficult too. Extreme poverty back in the Midwest. Her family was ostracized.
Right. And her mother, affection wasn't really her thing, unless it was, violence. And her father, dealing with his own WWII trauma, these anxieties manifesting in unsettling ways.
Yet somehow, Lucy still describes loving her parents in an achingly poignant way. It's complex.
So complex.
And it's interesting, you brought up Bob's background, his sort of Puritan ancestry, maybe influencing him.
Yeah, that idea of not drawing attention to yourself.
Right. And Lucy's family, originally from New England too, they have the similar kind of stoicism maybe. It suggests these deep cultural roots. Even if you don't consciously think about them, they affect how you handle pain, what you show, what you hide.
That hiding, that carrying. It brings us to Olive Kitteridge and her family story. This part is just, wow. It really hits you.
It really does. The unrecorded lives.
Yeah. Olive shares this story about her mother, Sarah, a farmer's daughter, fell madly in love with Stephen Turner, who was from a wealthy family.
But his mother stepped in, broke them up,
Mm-hmm.
said Sarah wasn't sophisticated enough. Just brutal.
Unbelievably cruel. But here's the kicker, the detail that just stops you in your tracks.
The newspaper clipping.
Yes. Sarah kept a newspaper clipping her entire life of Stephen Turner, now a doctor, pictured with his wife, Ruth, and their 2 daughters.
And the daughters' names.
Olive and Isa, the same names as Olive Kitteridge and her sister.
Chilling. Just chilling. It speaks volumes about carrying that specific heartbreak forever.
And Lucy's reaction when Olive tells her this? She just weeps. She gets it. The ghosts in the room and marriages, the things unsaid, the lives unlived.
hmm And it sheds light on Olive's own parents' marriage, which wasn't happy. Her father trying so hard to please her mother, but she was just not to be pleased.
It's a powerful illustration of how that kind of past pain, that unresolved longing, it doesn't just disappear. It trickles down through generations, affecting everything. These unseen burdens people carry.
Absolutely. And that theme of hidden pain, secret lives, it continues really strongly in the Matthew Beach case. This whole storyline just peels back layer after layer of community secrets.
It starts with finding Gloria Beach's body in a quarry pool. Then there's a missing rental car linked to an Ashley Monroe, but she has an alibi.
Right, she was giving birth, claims her ID was stolen. But Gloria's story, wow, her journals paint this picture of just relentless hardship.
Born Gloria Labby, only child, pregnant at 16, those awful hints about her uncle's visits, the smell afterward. Her parents didn't handle it well. Mother was a drinker.
Then working in a motel, being exploited by the owner,
Yeah.
being sick about it but doing it anyway. That line, I know how to do this, but it makes me sick each time. Ugh.
And her self-hatred. Marrying Walter Beach quickly, gaining weight, becoming known as Beach Ball or Bitch Ball, writing, no one can hate themselves more than I do. It's just tragic.
And then pouring everything into caring for her son, Matthew, when he had leukemia, only for her husband to leave her. It shows how trauma can just compound and lead to this deep isolation and self-loathing.
And Matthew, her son, he's the one Bob Burgess ends up representing. He's 59, small, looks terrified. He quit his job years ago to care for Gloria.
But he has this secret life, doesn't he? He's an artist, a painter.
A really talented one, self-taught, painting pregnant nudes, which of course his mother absolutely hated. Anything to do with sex, she screamed at the models.
He's completely isolated. No phone, no friends. Says caring for his mother is like caring for a baby. And that conflict in him, writing, I can't stand her, but also, oh, mommy, I love you. It's heart-wrenching.
Then there's the sister Diana, a guidance counselor, which is kind of ironic given her past.
Extremely ironic. That story about her as a third grader telling those younger girls these horrific detailed stories about assaults with that nutty glow.
Yeah.
It's deeply disturbing.
And then her confession, years later, in a suicide note, saying she killed her mother, but the memory was blocked, claiming her husband leaving undid her.
Feeling free afterward. Free of the crime, the punishment, the pain, and saying she would have confessed if Matt had been convicted. It's this terrible culmination, isn't it? Gloria's pain, Matthew's isolation and secret art, Diana's hidden violence.
It shows how these deep psychological wounds, when they're not addressed, can just twist and manifest in such destructive ways, generation after generation. And the community's reaction, Susan and Jerry calling Matt a pervert.
Right, but also saying they wouldn't blame him if he had killed her. It's complex. They see the burden Gloria was.
Absolutely. The novel just lays bare how these things linger and affect everyone, which brings us squarely to relationships and their hidden dynamics, starting with Bob and Margaret.
Yeah, their big fight after her sermon in Boston. It seems like it's about the sermon, but it goes much deeper, much faster.
Bob feels abandoned, and it connects right back to his childhood, doesn't it? That time his mother forgot him. It's the same raw nerve.
And Margaret's reaction, I am not your mother. I live every damn day of my life trying to negotiate around that. Wow. It just exposes all those unspoken things, the projections, the old wounds playing out in the present.
Especially when childhood trauma is involved, it complicates everything.
But then Margaret has this moment of clarity, right? She actually Googles gaslighting.
Yeah, and realizes her own behavior. It's a real turning point, that humility, that self-awareness. It makes her sermons better, more sincere. She becomes a better minister.
It's a great example of how confronting yourself, even the uncomfortable parts, can lead to real growth. We also see Jim, Bob's brother, dealing with grief. His wife Helen died.
And her dying process was controlled, planning her funeral, not wanting visitors. Jim's way of coping is intense too, going off his antidepressants to really feel the grief.
And his relationship with his son Larry is so strained.
That scene where Larry reacts to Jim finally confessing about the accident, and Larry's been blaming Bob all these years. It's just layers of misunderstanding and pain.
But Bob, quietly, tries to help them connect, tries to bridge that gap.
He does. And then there's Pam, Bob's first wife. Her journey is fascinating too.
Recovering alcoholic, going to AA, making amends.
Right. Amends to Ted, her ex, who actually cried when they separated, to her friends, to her sons, including Eric, who wears women's clothes. Pam's acceptance of him seems part of her recovery.
It feels like facing her own demons gives her this new strength, this clarity, enough to finally decide to leave Ted. It's about new beginnings, really.
Yeah. And Bob sees this in her. Interestingly, he reflects on feeling addicted to Lucy, seeing a parallel with Pam's addiction. It highlights the intensity of these connections, healthy or not.
Human connection is just so central. Which leads us to Lucy Barton herself. Her empathy, her insights, but also her own loneliness.
She has these incredibly intense, brief connections with strangers. Remember the man on the train?
Oh yeah, the quiet car. I loved him, and he loved me, even though they barely spoke.
Or the cab driver, just tired, kind, saying, "God bless you." These moments seem to mean so much to her.
It's striking, isn't it? How she finds this deep understanding, this intimacy in these fleeting encounters. Maybe more than in longer relationships sometimes. It really shows her deep, deep yearning for connection.
But she also owns her loneliness, so she's so good at being lonely.
And links it that she really understood it, she says.
Her empathy really comes through with Charlene Bibber.
Oh, Charlene, yeah.
Yeah.
Struggling with money, property taxes going up, might lose her house, just worn down by life.
And her dog, Boober, with dementia. That relationship is so important to her, dealing with a rude realtor, difficult cleaning clients.
And Lucy just connects with her. Doesn't try to fix it, just listens. Hugs her while Charlene cries about her dog. It's that simple act of kindness.
But it also shows how people withdraw, doesn't it? Charlene later pulls back from Lucy. Maybe it's all just too much.
Yeah, sometimes connection itself can feel overwhelming when you're struggling.
Lucy's also got this philosophical streak, that idea that we are all standing on shifting sand.
That we never truly know anyone, that we kind of invent them based on when they come into our lives.
And then she asks Bob that question. What does anyone's life mean? It's provocative. Causes some real tension between them, actually.
It really pushes that existential button, doesn't it? Finding meaning in ordinary lives. Suggesting that connection, even fragile connection, is maybe where we find moments of understanding, even if the big questions remain unanswered.
So where does all this leave Bob, our sin eater? His journey, his evolution, it's really the quiet core of the book, I think.
I agree. We see him actively helping Matthew Beach. Not just legally, but personally. Guiding him to Catherine Caskey.
The social worker, and the amazing coincidence she's the little girl he saw on the porch the day his father died. It's like closing a circle somehow.
And Matt responds so well. She's wonderful, he says about Catherine. That's thanks to Bob's steady support.
And Matt painting Bob's portrait, Bob encouraging him even when Matt hates his own work. It shows Bob moving beyond just carrying guilt to actually actively helping someone else heal, find their own worth.
It's significant growth. And his relationship with Margaret heals too, doesn't it?
Yeah, that big fight actually leads somewhere constructive. Her brush with losing her job humbles her, makes her connect more deeply in her ministry. They find a new intimacy.
It shows that conflict, faced honestly, can actually strengthen a relationship. It's not always the end.
Then there's the surprise of William and Lucy getting remarried.
Right. William proposes again. She accepts.
Mhm.
A whole new chapter. Bob witnesses it, feels, well, complicated feelings, you imagine.
And that detail about Lucy's hands being ice cold at the wedding. A little reminder that things are never simple with Lucy.
Never. But importantly, Bob and Lucy's connection. It continues.
Yes. Even with her remarried, the walks go on. That slight frisson like old lovers who are now just friends, holding arms goodbye, gently. It's a unique bond.
It really is. And all this leads Bob to, well, a kind of peace. Finally.
Cleaning out his old office, seeing Matt Beach with a new girlfriend, feeling that life force.
And that moment of profound personal understanding, feeling the air isn't just air, but something full and wonderful. A sense of presence, maybe God, maybe something else.
And seeing himself in the store window. It was him. It was not an unacceptable image. After everything, that's huge.
It's profound self-acceptance, quiet resolution, finding meaning, maybe, in just being.
So, quite a journey through these lives in Tell Me Everything. From Crosby's small-town feel to these incredibly deep, often hidden personal histories, we've really seen how things like compassion, forgiveness, these unexpected connections, they can emerge even when things are tough. It reminds you that every single life, even the ones that feel unrecorded, has weight, has meaning.
Absolutely. What really stands out is that constant back and forth between what's going on inside these characters and their outward lives, and the resilience, Despite all the pain, there's this quiet strength, and connecting it to the bigger picture. It just highlights that understanding ourselves, understanding others, it's not a one-time thing. It's this ongoing process full of surprises.
Right.
Which leads to a question for you, listening.
Right. As you go about your own life, in your own world, how might you look a little deeper, look beneath the
Yeah.
surface?
To discover those unrecorded lives around you.
Mm.
And maybe, just maybe, the ones inside yourself too.